Hello there, my friend, and welcome to the Travel Inspired Podcast. We are your hosts, Rob Kerri Stuart, and we are here in the Creating Magic Vacation Studio in beautiful, but really, really cold and rainy Windermere, Florida. This is episode number 154, What the OTAs Don't Want You to Know.
But before we get to that, we have to tell you about a special event that we went to just this past week.
It was the annual event for Folds of Honor, and our first of many check presentations to Folds of Honor from the CMV Heroes Project.
And I have to say, it was so amazing meeting Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney and the entire team at Folds of Honor. They were so amazing.
And so for those of you watching us on YouTube, we are wearing the gear. I even have on my beautiful Hublot watch here a red strap. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So we were honored to attend their annual event and present a check that was the biggest that we've ever written. And this is why you need to watch us on YouTube.
Well, technically, it was the not dollar-wise check we've written, but size-wise.
Okay, yeah, that's the same thing. So if you're on YouTube, you can look behind us.
That was super fun to present that,
It
though.
was. And it's because of you, our listeners, our agents, our clients, that we were able to present this and help the children of active or retired military heroes.
Yeah, and our CMV Heroes project will continue to raise money throughout the year for Folds of Honor, both through the sale of our shirts, and we also even have some select cruises where we donate proceeds from those cruises. And also when a retired or active military hero or spouse becomes an agent with Creating Magic Vacations under our CMV Heroes project, we also make a donation.
I also want to mention that our agents all around the country will often promote it at some of their local events. So a big shout out to our CMV agent, Jen Neal in Dallas, Texas, who was the first of our agents to do this. Jen, thank you so much.
This week, we're going to get you up to speed on OTA. So what is an OTA? You're probably going to ask. Well,
I think they were asking. Yes, they were.
Basically, it stands for online travel agency. So think, Booking.com, Expedia, Trivago, or Airbnb. Those are just a few of those OTAs.
Right. So this even includes, I say, the big box membership stores like, Costco and Sam's Club and BJ's as well.
Yeah. So again, welcome to our first show of the new year. And
even though it's the end of January.
I know it is, but this is our first show of the new year. And we're so grateful you spent some time with us, though, in 2024, because we have some really cool things to feature in 2025.
I know. So as we're doing this is the week of January 27th, and we're just getting out our first episode because January has been a record sales month, for our agency in general, but also we have Agent Palooza this week, and that is something we've been working on probably since February of last year.
It is, yeah. And that is our annual travel agency conference that we host. And the beginning of the year is always just a bit hectic.
Yes. And something we're excited to announce this week, we're adding another assistant to the Creating Magic Vacations home office team. So we do want to have a big welcome, and we can't wait to work with you. And that is Joselle. So thank you so much.
I can't wait. But let's get back to today.
We're back.
Where we are pulling back the curtain on something that really affects a lot of people when they are looking to book a trip. And we run into this all the time. And that is using or doing research with those online travel agencies, also known as OTAs.
And that's what we call them internally. And you see the commercials probably, again, every 15, maybe 30 minutes on every channel you can
Lately,
imagine.
That's for sure.
Think about that. If they have that big a budget, how much are they really saving you? You know the names. Booking.com, where they have their celebrity people. Expedia.com, Trivago. We'll get to that in a few. And even Airbnb. And that's just a few of the many companies that do this.
Yeah, but here's something that may surprise you. Those travel deals you see at your favorite membership stores like the Costco's, they fall into this category. But what you're going to learn today may completely change how you book your next vacation.
As of this episode, we do have something new for you, and there is a link at the top of the show description where you can send us a text message, and we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I think this is a super cool new feature from our podcast host, Buzzsprout. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to get some feedback. All right, so why should you avoid booking your trips online through these multi-billion-dollar mega companies?
And yes, these companies have been around, for a long time, but here's what you may not know. There are predominantly two companies that dominate this part of the industry. And the crazy part, they both own multiple brands that compete with each other. I'm going to tell you about a couple. The biggest, $21 billion Booking.com. And they own these brands, Priceline and Kayak, to name a few. And I didn't even realize this. They own OpenTable as well.
I know.
Didn't know
so
that.
Crazy. But here's the other huge company. It is a $12 billion company, and that's Expedia. But did you know that they also own Hotels.com, VRBO, Trivago, and even Orbitz and Travelocity? And in all fairness, we do book a lot of our travel agent clients using Expedia, but why not? They're owning like tons of these brands for sure.
And keep in mind, we do book these from the travel agent portal.
Yes.
But Houston, we have a problem. And one company on this list, I mean, this one cracks me up, and it's called Trivago. You may have seen their commercial probably every 30, 40 seconds with two people at the counter checking out of a hotel. One person seems happy with their price. Oh my gosh, that's a great price. I'm a frequent visitor, blah, blah, blah. Until they hear the price of the person next to them at the counter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that never happens. When you have ever checked in or out of a hotel, they will never say your rate out loud. And some of them don't even see it if you've booked through one of these OTAs. I just think that that's very misleading.
I agree. And using a site because your favorite celebrity like Tina Fey or Glenn Close is in the ad, not a good idea.
I imagine it costs them quite a bit.
No.
To hire them.
These celebrities, they do it for free.
Well, I don't think so.
Out of the goodness of their hearts.
That probably affects your price for sure.
In every single one of these cases, it's always better to book with a real travel agent, an agency like Creating Magic Vacations, of course.
Or any agency that you currently book through, because you are helping a small business, not just padding the vaults of the billion-dollar companies.
So let's talk about how COVID really exposed the weaknesses of the OTA business model in general. The pandemic was like a stress test for the entire travel industry, and the OTAs failed spectacularly.
Yeah. And I remember all those frantic calls that we got from people who had booked Disney through Costco, and they were absolutely desperate.
I know, it was crazy because here's what happened. So Disney World shut down, and naturally everyone needed to change their plans. But if you booked through someone, let's say Costco, Costco Travel, you couldn't call Disney directly because Costco was your travel agent of record.
And as you can imagine, getting through on the phone lines to Costco Travel during that time was crazy. You didn't have anybody's cell phone number. And some people were reporting hold times of 8 to 12 hours, and some couldn't get in 4 weeks.
And remember, this was during a time when Disney was announcing new policies and procedures almost daily. So people who booked directly with Disney or through travel advisors like us were getting immediate updates and assistance.
And here is the kickers. When the parks reopened, those who had booked through third parties had another problem. Because remember, that's when Disney instituted the new Disney Park Pass reservation system.
Oh God, I remember that, because that was another nightmare for the OTA bookings. People couldn't access the system to make their required park reservations because their tickets were tied to their Costco booking, which means more hours on hold and more hours and more frustration.
Yeah, so the pandemic really showed why having direct access to a travel agent is so crucial. When things go wrong, and they will if you travel a lot, you need to be able to communicate with your direct travel agent. A big box store is not going to fill that void. And it really is just maybe somebody who's filling in for someone who used to work in the appliance department.
Or electronics.
It could even be like maybe not even a real person. I'm hating when you call into a lot of like these airlines. You have to go through all these prompts because they're using a lot of AI. What I love is our clients know that we are just one text message or a phone call away.
It's really like that old saying, you don't need a travel agent until you really need a travel agent, but you need the right kind of travel agent. The one who's actually going to be there for you in a crisis like we saw a few years ago.
Yeah, and let's be clear, Costco might be great for buying those bulk paper towels and toilet paper, but when your $12,000 family vacation is on the line and you need someone who specializes in travel, they're not going to be there. Not to mention, I know that they throw in some perks like, hey, we'll give you a gift card or we'll do something special for you because you're going to spend more money in their store. They don't care about your travel, let alone learning your family's travel style.
The bottom line is here, don't trust your family's vacation and in some cases the years you saved up for that specific vacation. Don't trust it to someone who's literally going to scan your gift card with your, giant cart full of other stuff. Maybe you bought a big screen TV. Those are big right now. Don't trust that transaction to someone who doesn't know travel.
Yeah, and here's my last pro tip is before you book your air, always book direct with the airline when you can. In some very rare cases, whether you can get a special rate because maybe you're going on a cruise and the cruise line can offer a special rate to their clients. I know we get access sometimes through wholesalers for some very specific things. But when you book with an OTA on air, they own your ticket. And I have heard of so many horror stories because you always want to check the fine print and understand your cancellation policies. So that pro tip alone is going to save you years off your life.
Yes, years. We're going to save you years. So thanks again for listening or watching on the Creating Magic Vacations YouTube channel.
And tune in next time because we're going to talk about one of the hottest and surprising segments in the industry, and that is solo travel.
I will tell you, that's a segment I really didn't know existed. We have one of our clients that's what she does. Her husband, if they're going to travel, they only like to go to Hawaii where they have a condo, and she's traveling the world right now. And one of the biggest, I think, segments of solo travel is European river cruises. I don't know why that happened, but it is really hot. We are going to give you our inside tips on that on future episodes.
So if we can help you plan your next adventure wherever it is in the world, please reach out to us or one of our Creating Magic Vacations travel advisors.
And we'll leave you with this. Never stop exploring.